Narcissist versus empath. This is a fascinating subject and one that I know quite dear to my heart. But I'm going to tell you something now that's not going to like. The reason why we attract narcissists into our society, into our life, is because we have those elements of narcissism in us as well. Not feeling in control, feeling lonely. All the things that a narcissist doesn't want to admit because they'd have to reflect on their life. So if they can manipulate the person into thinking that it's them that's the issue, then they keep control. So when you understand this, you can actually realize that a narcissist has to feel in control. And so you can take away their control, and then they will have a meltdown. And then they'll do everything to look upon what they can manipulate and use to make you think. So, for example, if you asked a narcissist about something that is a problem to them or an issue to them, they'll eventually try to make out that it's you that have the problem. You have the issue. This is their manipulation technique that they're very good at. They can't admit that they have a problem because then they would attach to their soul or will have to try and reflect on their lives. And they don't want to do this because then they'd have to admit that there is an issue in their life. Whereas an empath has this conflict. It wants to let go of trying to be in control. It wants to let go of all the things that are stopping them being connected to the universe. And so there is like an inner conflict, and goes with pain and all sorts that's inside ourselves that we're trying to release. So empaths tend to be reflective. They're also absorbing other people's energy that's triggering their own. And so it's a sort of cycle that are going around. And that's why a lot of the time narcissists are perfect partners for them in the sense of learning. But if you want the true love or you want to be connected to somebody, then you have to choose somebody that brings peace to your life. They can then love you as much as you can love them. That's the secret to it all. But let's get back to the narcissist. So the narcissist is going to manipulate you. The narcissist, when it's stuck in a corner and you've brought up a subject that it will trigger one of its traumas of the past life or one of its moments that it might have to reflect on life, it will then go into warrior mode. And this mode is an all-out attack. Also, the more it gets to feel love from the person, which you probably deep down wants, but because it's in pain, it's struggling to accept the love. Love neutralizes negativity. It makes us also connected to oneself. The narcissist doesn't want that because then they would feel the pain and then they would have to recognize that they have issues. So a narcissist will say that it is reflecting what you're putting out. It will always put the onuses on you as an empath. It'll always put the onuses that you are the issue, that you are the problem, or will manipulate or change a scenario to eventually you start, and because you're an empath, you start to think, well, am I causing that? Because you are open to dealing with your issues. Oh, I caused that. Was it me? And then eventually you'll come to opinion that you must have vibrated it, which is the case in certain circumstances, but not in all circumstances, because you're also absorbing other people's energy, which is triggering yours. So you are taking on board a narcissist's energy. And so if they're quite negative or they're manipulative or they're controlling or they're going to, and one of the little tricks of a narcissist will do, it will want you to open up to them, to give you ammunition. Because without ammunition, how can it manipulate you? So it'll want you to be open and honest with your feelings and this, that, and the other to a certain extent until it triggers them. And then they will not want to be around you because of that. And so they utilize that. They go below the belt. Because then when you're in pain, you will act upon it. You will back off. You will reflect on your life. You will try to understand why you created this situation. And that's why empaths versus narcissists is quite a toxic relationship, to the respect of it's just lessons always. You're absorbing their lessons, triggering your own lessons. So, like, if you're frustrated, you're feeding their frustration and your own frustration. But there is ways to get around it. Unconditional love. Keep giving unconditional love, and you probably won't attract a narcissist. Keep being at peace with oneself. Self-esteem. Change your self-esteem issues. Understand that you've came from a pure energy. You are a pure energy. You're perfect for the journey that you're on. And that's why there's no point trying to get somebody to fill that void. Only you can fill the void of your journey. Because nobody else is going to know your journey. Nobody else is going to know what you're here to play the part of. And so if you're not being who you are, or you're not allowed to because someone's trying to control you all the time, then you'll never be happy in a relationship. You'll always feel lonely. You always feel separate. You won't feel connected. You won't receive the love of the universe and the support from the universe because you're not vibrating that anymore. You're not giving out that anymore. So understand that a narcissist has to be in control. There's ways and means to take that control away. If you work on yourself, if you spend time sorting yourself out, enjoying yourself, you'll find that narcissists will struggle to be around you. And so these are little top tips for you. The thing is, follow your heart. Ask, is this person, imagine this person in your heart, do they feel comfortable? Do you feel at peace with them being in your heart? If it's no, then they're not the partner for you. Yes, you might have to learn the lessons because you will just attract another one if you haven't learnt the lessons. So, empaths will reflect on their lives. Empaths will look at how they can improve their lives. Empaths will feel what's right in their lives. But if your senses and chakras are blocked through the overloading of negativity, you will struggle. So it's so important to fix your core energy. Your core energy is a neutral energy that whatever's fed to it, it will become. So to make sure that there's cleanse, warm water is a very good way to neutralize and stop us from getting negativity. Letting go of lessons, letting go of traumas, understanding your journey, understanding the part to play in who you are, and being your authentic self. Be who you are, because that is what you've been put on this earth to do, is to play your part in helping those who need your help. That's why we become of service. Service of the energy. Energy is everlasting. To control it or to stop it or to all the other things will not let the flow of the energy, which then causes you to not feel connected, not feel one. Do what's automatic to you. Healthy, wealthy, all these things, all these buzzwords, happiness, you know. Many people say to me, but I can't be happy. Well, no, because you're not being happy. You know, you're not connecting to the flow of happiness. What you're doing is wanting to be happy. You know, you're wanting this out of life. And then the universe shows you that it's not really going to bring you peace. But if that's what you want, I'll give you it. And then you've obviously attracting people who are not happy to show you that, you know, why you're not happy. You know, that you actually were better off. But your want and need has taken you away from the connection. They've separated you from feeling happy, from being happy, to eventually happiness flowing through you. It is simple, but also effective. You are now the problem instead of the solution. I mean, if you really wanted to know, you know, the universe would always sort everything out for you. But it's what you feed it, what you attach to it, what you become, will either counteract the opportunity for a situation to be sorted, because you have created a lesson from it by attaching to it, to feeding it. If you feed negativity, this is what, when you turn to the spirit world, the emotions is what keeps the spirit here on the earth, because they have lessons as we have lessons. And so they stay around to help us and not move on as much, because when they move on, we can feel them in their heart. We can feel the good memories. But while we're feeling the negative energies or the guilt of them moving on or not being around and helping us to release our own emotional sense, then that is why we suddenly struggle, because we have no release point. That's why it's so important to get into nature, so important to do what you enjoy, so important to work on yourself, Look within. But understand, don't label yourself. So many people label themselves of, oh, I have this order, or I have that illness, or I have this. You're then becoming the victim. And so you'll play the victim role. And that's what people don't understand. While your mindset is telling you all the time that you're this, and you're agreeing with it, and you're feeding it, and you're attaching to it, you're going to create it. My biggest fear in life was to be fat. I trained 3 hours a day to keep not being fat. 7 times I lost all the weight to get back to a reasonable, perfect weight for myself. But then I put it back on because my underlying factor, my inside was, until I realised now with working with the energy, my biggest fear of being fat has now been created, or being overweight, whichever you want to weigh. How did I cause that? I created a sleeping disorder. So instead of my body's energy working, I was more connected to the spirit world, but in a very different way. 114 times an hour, I was not breathing to stay connected. And so I created what I was putting myself out, my fears, my worries and doubts of being overweight and not being good enough. And that's what it really stemmed to, not being good enough. It wasn't the weight. I don't mind being overweight. And I know that people can say, how can you not mind? Because some of it is that I absorb a lot of energy from others. But that is my vibration that created it. And so being on the 10-year journey has helped me to understand a lot of these things and the connections and how everything comes together and where it comes from and how it even is connected to past life and childhood and ancestors and the way the universe works and everything. So it's an amazing journey. But I've just got to understand that if I don't feel perfect in myself, then I'm going to create a world that's not perfect. And I have to take away the worries and fears. Stop being so hard on myself. The time I did get depression was when I couldn't even walk into work because we'd put on one of the biggest events known in Derby, Queen's Visit, and that overload of stress and everything sent me in a depression mode. I will admit it. I'll put my hands up to it. But it also taught me that my way of thinking wasn't right. My mindset wasn't right. I was expecting a lot more from others around me because I was high-moraled. I was willing to lead the way. I was here on a charge to help people. And it showed me that it was my own mindset that was causing the issue. And I was feeding it. And the overload of negativity just sent me into a month off before I got a wonderful book that highlighted. I wish I took the name of that book because somebody gave it to me. And I just said to you, the universe is always working. People are always working. Guides are always around you in the sense of development guides, that is. But your soul is always guiding you. It's always helping you, meeting people, places, to experience, to understand all these things. To understand that basically we're just separating from who we are, separating from the universe, separating from our core energy. That is the key to it all. And once you understand that, you can see the big picture to what's created, why it's happening, and then all of a sudden you see it as opportunities, not problems. You see that you're just not vibrating the right way, and then that's what's caused the imbalance in the universe and yourself. That means that you need to learn a lesson from it. And that's how I see it. Okay, so let's not get off the subject. Empath versus narcissist. They are both the same at the core. Both got the same energy. One will spend the time reflection and taking other people's pain, and the other one's in pain and trying to cause pain to alleviate their own pain. That's how I see it. So the narcissist is not bad. They've still got a part to play. But they're lost souls that are just not feeling connected to their own soul. And that's why unconditional love and learning to love them truly is, but they will react. But if you can meet on a soul-to-soul level, which I've got plenty of videos I do that, it's a lot easier for them because they're not feeling also because they're part empath. They've just chosen not to use their empathic ways.